Last month, Emma Goff, a Jehovah's Witness from Telford in Shropshire, died after giving birth to twins. There have been claims so far unsubstantiated that her refusal to accept a blood transfusion contributed to her death.
It struck the one show's Justin Rowlett on this story that the only two things most of us know about this branch of Christianity is that they have a moral issue with blood transfusions and that they dress very smartly when they come knocking at your door.
Now, if I said the words Jehovah's Witness, I bet this is what you'd think of. A man in a suit with a copy of the Bible knocking on your front door. But how much do you actually know about this controversial faith?
Religious fanatics, right-wing Christians.
I get confused with Mormons. Can they have, like, loads of wives?
Knocking on the door at an inconvenient time on Sunday morning, and I have to ask them very politely to go away.
So what do Jehovah's Witnesses actually believe? What makes them tick? Well, there's only one way to find out. I've been invited to a Kingdom Hall in Devon to take part in a service and meet the worshippers. I want to know what being a Jehovah's Witness is all about. Hugo Montgomery Swan and his family are my chaperones for the day.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you along to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses here in Tiverton.
It's a pretty unremarkable scene of worship, with none of the smells and bells of some other Christian services. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the Bible is historically accurate and take its words literally. They say that God, who they know as Jehovah, is the creator of Jesus Christ. They believe the end of the world is imminent and that we're living in what they call end times. When the Emma Goff story broke, this tight-knit community was criticised for what some saw as their extreme beliefs. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that God has forbidden blood transfusions. When Mulvia Maddox experienced complications with her pregnancies, she, like Emma Goff, found herself having to cope without.
And at 34 weeks, I was actually rushed up to surgery. They presented me with the facts, as it were, you know, you could actually die now, and if you don't stop bleeding, we need to do something. Would you accept blood? And I said no. I didn't make that decision coldly. I'd got 3 children at home. I was carrying a child. However, in that moment, your faith is really important to you.
Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the smallest religious groups in the country, with only an estimated 130,000 members, but they've been linked to some high-profile names. There's no celebrity bling here in Tiverton, though, just an ordinary scene of Sunday worship. Well, that was pretty long. It was 2 hours of talks and discussions about the Bible. It was recognisably a Christian service, but a couple of really striking things. First of all, there are no crosses or images of Jesus here. And the other thing that really struck me was there are no priests or vicars. The whole service was managed by members of the congregation. Now, Hugo's invited me to Sunday lunch, so I'll find out a bit more then. I'll take a medium one. Why don't we knock a few of these stereotypes on the head? Some people think Jehovah's Witnesses are pests coming and knocking on the door.
Yes, we come uninvited, but we give them the dignity to ask us to leave, or if they don't want us to call, we'll make a note of it and not call.
Jesus commanded all his followers to do just that. He even instructed them as how to go out in pairs and to call in people's homes. So that concept isn't new at all.
Why don't you celebrate Christmas? You're Christians after all.
If you actually look at the story of Christmas and analyse it and compare it with actually what the Bible teachings are and the gospel accounts in the Bible, you'll find that the two actually don't tally up very well.
Would you like to celebrate Christmas?
Sometimes I feel sad because I'm not allowed, but at the same time I wouldn't want to upset Jesus or Jehovah.
Blood transfusions are a thorny issue even for a committed Jehovah's Witness, especially when children are involved. Mulvia Maddox's beliefs were finally tested when her daughter Christy faced major surgery.
When I made the decision for myself, there was no question. For my daughter, I did find that more difficult because she was my child. But Christy was 15 and a half, and what I said to her was, you really need to think about what you want. And she did make the decision not to have blood. She lost about half a cupful, and she recovered really quickly after the surgery.
So, I mean, one of the areas that's obviously caught the kind of public's attention is this whole thing about
blood transfusions. I mean, if your children were in a situation where they needed blood transfusion, what would you do?
Medical authorities all around the world are finding that non-blood medical management is the preferred choice.
That seems to be the official Jehovah's Witness line, over which Mulvia has no lingering doubts.
It was the right decision. She made it on faith, and although it was difficult, it was the right thing to do.
Well, we'd really like to hear from you about that film. As always, you can contact us here at The One Show at bbc.co.uk/The One Show.